You're watching Chef Showdown, the show where I take two recipes for the same dish and I put them head to head to see who has the better recipe. In this episode, we have two masters of their craft. We have James Hoffman, the king of coffee, versus Claire Saffitz, the queen of desserts. And today I'm making something that combines both of these master classes together, but separately. We're making tiramisu. With all that said, I have taken the liberty of making my espresso off cam just so you don't have to watch me pull 14 shots back to back. I've also taken the liberty of cooking the eggs in the sous vide water bath as instructed by James. Those have sat in there for about 30 minutes at 140 degrees Fahrenheit, and now they are in the fridge cooling. So now that they are cool, I'm going to get them out, mix them with some sugar, and we should be halfway there. Just get your eggs out of here, little Ziploc squeezy eggs. All right, so now the eggs are in the bowl. Gonna get the sugar in there as well. And we're gonna mix on a low setting for about 5 minutes. So after mixing the eggs to a sufficient volume and thickness, I think we're gonna add in the mascarpone cheese 1/3 at a time and mix that in there as well. We've got this glossy mixture that is not too smooth, not too lumpy, right in the middle. So after mixing everything, getting the coffee divided out, diluted, and mixed with the saline, the only thing left is to assemble the final cake. So James specifies that you have to dip the non-sugar side into the coffee and then immediately flip it so that gravity distributes the coffee throughout the ladyfinger. So it's a quick dunk, it's just 1 second, non-sugar side down and then into the tray. I'm so nervous. I don't want to do this because I feel like I'm gonna mess it up, but 1 second dunk, non-sugar side in. Whoa. And then rotate it into the tray. So once everything's arranged in the tray, soaked, the only thing left is to get a brush, a pastry brush, and brush on the remaining coffee. So I've been brushing for a minute now and I still have a lot of coffee left over. I don't know if I'm making tiramisu or tiramisu. Now that the biscuits are adequately soaked, the next step is to get half the mascarpone into the tray. All right, that looks kind of decent, I guess. I don't have an offset spatula to kind of get it smooth and nice, but I did my best with the regular spatula. Now I'm gonna go in for round 2 with the biscuits. Now that the coffee is brushed on, we have everything set up. Just gonna finish it off with this cheese and we should be done with this. So now that the mascarpone is on top, the only thing left is to bid adieu to my tiramisu, put it in the fridge, let it rest overnight, come back for it tomorrow. For Claire's recipe, she starts off with mixing the espresso and the sugar together in the very beginning. We're using this fancy ass Demerara sugar. She just calls for 1 cup of brewed espresso, which is exactly what I have. But I tried the espresso mixture from James's recipe, and that was diluted in half with cold water. And it was pretty strong, admittedly. And I like strong coffee. I drink espresso. I think it's great. I love black coffee, but this might be a little intense, you know? This one might put a little bit of hair on your chest, which, hey, who am I to judge, you know? So in front of me are all the required ingredients, minus the mascarpone, but that'll come in later. So we got 4 egg yolks going into the mixing bowl, a half cup of our fancy sugar, and our 2 tablespoons of reduced marsala. I'm just gonna mix everything together. Once it's all incorporated, I'm gonna bring it over to the double boiler. So everything here is mostly homogeneous. Now I'm gonna get this over to the double boiler, and per Claire's instructions, you have to vigorously beat it for about 10 minutes. But you don't gotta tell me twice, Claire. So I'm over here with the double boiler set up, ready to beat my mixture for 10 minutes vigorously. And we're on a light simmer. It's not even like really, it's like such a gentle simmer at this point. So after 10 minutes of vigorously beating it over the double boiler, I'm over here to beat it once more, vigorously as well, but just until it cools down. It has gotten very thick and glossy. It's like super luxurious. So the Sauvignon has cooled down, and I gotta say, I've never tried anything quite like this. It's really nice. It has this super rich texture. The flavor is very complex on its own. I don't want James to lose because I think this guy is literally the coffee messiah. I'm going to move on to whipping the mascarpone and the heavy cream together. After the laborious task of making the tiramisu filling, we finally have everything ready to assemble. And while Claire's tiramisu filling was more complicated, I think there was more flavor also brought to the table. She used vanilla extract, she had that marsala. So she does a quick little dunk and then she flips it in the coffee, unlike James, and then she places it in the tray haphazardly. Oh. So all the ladyfingers are soaked. We're gonna put in half of our filling next. This beautiful glossy filling goes in like so. And once again, I do not own an offset spatula, so I'm just gonna try to spread it out nicely with a regular spatula. All right, second batch of ladyfingers are in. Now the remaining filling goes in and we're just about done. I'm so excited to get these set up in the fridge and try them tomorrow. So we have the tiramisu prepared in front of us. On the left here is James's tiramisu covered in cocoa powder. On the right is Claire's covered in dark chocolate, although it looks much lighter than the cocoa powder. Over here, it's neither here nor there, but I got tiramisu from a local Italian restaurant. It looks like they just haphazardly threw in all the ingredients together and just shook it up in here. They gave me the fucking foreskin of a tiramisu for $14. This tiny little, it's not even a slice. It's not even a cohesive unit. They just put everything in here and a chocolate wafer on top. This is the control that I'm gonna be using to compare these. And I should mention that these have been sitting overnight in the fridge. They've rested for about 24 hours now. It is the next day, though I am wearing the same outfit. It's fine, trust me, I let them sit the appropriate amount of time. Without further ado, I'm gonna get these sliced up, get my blindfold on, and try to see which is which. I have had these mixed up for me. Oh, that's the water, I think. This is actually harder than it seems. That chocolate powder, like normally I don't like the cocoa powder on top, but I feel like it brings a lot of balance to this. This is super rich. It just coats your tongue nicely. It's not oily. It's like very luxurious. It has like a very nice coffee flavor. I don't think it's at the forefront, but it is very present and it's nice. You could tell that the coffee is excellent. And it should be for both these recipes because I made sure to use the same exact coffee for both of them. But yeah, that was really good. Moving on to the second one. That shit just pissed me off. I could tell that's a fucking $14 foreskin, bro. I do think the redeeming quality here is the coffee flavor is not offensive. It is extremely subtle. It's like the suggestion of coffee flavor. This is not it. This is not the coffee dessert that it should be, and the texture is just, it's too homogeneous. And last but not least, what I presume to be Claire's slice. I'm gonna have to do an A/B test between these two slices to really dial it in to see who has the better slice, but the dark chocolate on top, really, really nice touch. It has a fruitiness that just kind of immediately envelops your nose. Oh my God, yes, and I was right. I was right. Of fucking course I was right. Look at this shit. That was cool though. That was really cool. I was expecting James to win because he is the coffee messiah. I love his coffee content, but in this instance, upon further reflection, I think he got swept. I think he got swept. You know, I want to preface by saying they are both excellent recipes, but I honestly preferred the texture and separation in Claire's recipe much more than I did in James's recipe. And while we're on the topic of Claire's recipe, I thought her cream was much more complex, much more nuanced. I really enjoyed the Sauvignon that we put into there as the base, and I felt like that really helped elevate everything, whereas James's was more one-dimensional, which is not a bad thing. I thought it was simplicity and it was beautiful in that regard. It's a clear winner. It's like a David versus Goliath moment, except this time, David wins. Thank you all for watching. This has been another episode of Chef Showdown. All that's left is to thank my patrons because they gave me money and I really appreciate that. Thank you to Max Ginn, my most supportive patron, and thank you to everybody on the fridge. If you too would like to get on the fridge or just support the show in general, the link to the Patreon is in the pinned comment below. But for now, I'm gonna see what I end up doing with this.